Hello everyone, welcome to Vivid Education. Today we are going to learn about the chemical reaction and equation part 3 called the type of chemical reaction. You know what? We have millions of reactions in our surrounding. All these reactions has been put together under few type of a chemical reactions. Those few type of a chemical reactions we are going to learn today. So right away we go into the concept. The first one is the combination reaction. The combination reaction is nothing but when two reactants combine and form one new product is nothing but the combination reaction. For example, you can look at here, the carbon and oxygen is combining and forming a new product here. So the combination, the name itself is combining. Okay, so when two reactants combine and form one new product is called combination reaction. Okay, the next is decomposition reaction. The decomposition reaction is opposite to the combination reaction. You know why? Because in case of a combination reaction, two reactants will combine and form one new product, correct? But in case of a decomposition reaction, one reactants will split into the two different products. For example, you can see here we have a water that is splitting into the hydrogen as well as the oxygen. So one reactant is splitting into the two product. So that's why we calling it as a decomposition reaction. Right? So next we go into the displacement reaction. This is very quite interesting one because here we have a series called as a reactive series. Okay, reactivity series. In this reactivity series, the elements which is present in the top orders are very stronger. As we are going down, the strength of that element will be decreased. So for example, like we have a calcium here, this is very strong when compared to the iron. Suppose we have the iron, this is very strong when compared to the copper. I hope it's clear. So in case of a displacement reaction, the stronger one can replace the weaker one very easily. Okay, so let me make it understand. So the strong element or the more reactive element can replace the weak element. That is nothing but the displacement reaction. For example, you can see here, okay, there is a copper sulfate. Okay, there is a copper sulfate. So copper, right, we have copper here, right? When copper is compared to the iron, correct, which is more stronger here? Of course the iron is stronger, correct? So then can iron replace the copper? Can iron replace the copper? Exactly, that is what happening here. The iron is replacing the copper. So this copper is removing and this Fe is adding. That's why we are getting FeSO4 and the copper we have here, right? So just have a look at here. The more reactive element is replacing the less reactive element here. I hope it's clear. In case of a double displacement reaction, this is also one of the most important reaction. You know what happens during the double displacement reaction? There will be nothing happens. It just involve in exchange of ions. Exchange of ions. Let me make it very clear. So this is a compound. Okay, this compound will split into Ag plus NO3. Okay, and this compound NaCl will split into Na plus Cl minus. Okay, please keep one thing in your mind: opposite charges will attract each other and same charges will repel each other. Okay, so this is Ag, okay, silver. So this will be combining with the negative charge chlorine, so it forms AgCl, and Na plus is combining with the NO3 minus and they form another compound NaNO3. Is it clear? So just look at here, nothing happened, just the ions has been exchanged between the two compounds. Right here, two times the reaction is happening. That's why we call it as a double displacement reaction. But in case of a single displacement reaction, okay, it was a single reaction. It was a reaction which is taking place in one step. That's why we call it as a single displacement reaction, the previous one. And here the reaction is happening twice. That's why we call it as a double displacement reaction. Okay, this is the overall view of what we have discussed now: combination reaction, decomposition reaction, single displacement reaction, and double displacement reaction. So next we go into that exothermic and endothermic reaction. You know what it is? Exo is nothing but releasing, endo is nothing but taking. That's it. Okay, don't make it too much of confused with this. Exo is nothing but releasing, endo is nothing but absorbing. That's it. Okay, so during a reaction, okay, so far we have seen few kind of reactions, correct? So during that kind of a reaction, if energy is absorbed by the body, then we call it as a endothermic reaction. Suppose in those reaction, if the energy is released, we could have called it as a exothermic reaction. Okay, I hope it's clear. You can have a look at here. During endothermic reaction, the ice cube is absorbing the energy. That's why it is getting converted into the water, or it is melting, correct? So it is absorbing. But in case of an firing, it is not happening. It is releasing the energy. So ice cube is melting into the water is a endothermic because it is absorbing the water, whereas firing a wood is nothing but exothermic because during that kind of a reaction the energy is released. Clear? Yes. Next we go into the one more important thing called as precipitation reaction. Okay, this is nothing but the double displacement reaction. Okay, don't get confused of too much about this, because during double displacement reaction I told you that the ions will be exchanged between the two compounds, right? You know what happens sometimes when they are exchanging, some mess up could have happened, and that leads to the some kind of a solid called as a precipitate. And if that precipitate is mixed with anything, it's not going to be mixed. It is not going to be dissolved. It is not going to be dissolved. So that we call it as a precipitate, and the reaction in which this precipitate is formed, we call it as precipitation reaction. You can have a look at here. Okay, sodium sulfate and strontium chloride. Okay, so when they are exchanging the ions, some insoluble solids are going to be formed called as a sodium chloride. So the insoluble solid, I mean the precipitate, is going to be formed, and this reaction we call it as a precipitation reaction. I hope it's clear. We'll meet in the next video. Thank you.